Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It's episode number 97. So close now, lads. Free away. The centenary podcast is coming up. But on that note, can you tell me who the top goal scorer was for Celtic in the 1996-97 campaign? We're nearly there. We're nearly back to the glory days. But we still have a bit of struggle on the way.
Do you want to go for it?
Nah, I wish I'd just googled it beforehand.
Cadet?
Yes, it is right. Cadet with 25 goals in the league, 33 in all competitions that season. He was top goal scorer. Second in the league, of course. Semi-finals of the Scottish Cup, quarter-finals of the League Cup, knocked out in the first round of the UEFA Cup. So no trophies for Tommy Burns / Billy Stark that season. But we're nearly there. We're nearly back to the good old times.
No trophies. I don't think that's the last time we'll use that in this podcast.
Well, it's not, because we might have three of us sitting here today, but we're a man down. Let us not forget the great Michael Beale.
I thought you were going to say Calum.
Calum was
going to come.
On that note, Calum was actually meant to be here today, but last minute he had to pull out, so it was going to be a 4-man show.
Thank God he didn't, because
would have been gubbed.
I know.
It's just for a bit of context. The lad sitting beside me here, we've been in the studio for about 50 minutes now. We tried to say this week was the week I was planning on debuting this nice new camera visual for you, where we'd have cameras zooming into faces and blah blah. I couldn't find the wire to get it all finalised, so we're back to the normal one camera setup. So on that note, the two lads who are joining me, I'll start with the one to my left hand side, Ryan McGinlay. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm still buzzing, to be perfectly honest.
Neil getting sacked.
Can't talk about that. Come on. No, I'm still buzzing about the result of the weekend. I'm equally as buzzing for the Lazio game on Wednesday night. You know, return of Champions League football at home. You know, these games, they take care of themselves. Games against Lazio as well. You know, everything that Celtic are not are Lazio basically. So these games, as I said, they take care of themselves. Looking forward to it, but still absolutely buzzing at the end of that game. On Saturday, I was so happy to be there covering it for the press. But
did you manage to contain your excitement?
Just about. I had to nip my finger to stop myself from jumping. It was very tempting, but I managed to refrain, and I just said wow about 10 times, because you seen the limbs and the fans just going absolutely crazy. Fans going, the home fans as well. It was an absolutely crazy atmosphere, but good 3 points, and it was a good Saturday.
Was anybody interested in the press box with you? Any famous faces?
Mr. Bonner, yeah.
Was he there?
Yeah, James McFadden was there as well. I don't know if he was maybe doing Motherwell TV.
He was covering Sky Sports, I think, like on Sky Sports News,
right.
Live at the ground sort of thing. At least that's what I think I've seen.
Who's been sent off Friday?
I'm sure I've seen that on Twitter anyway.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, famous faces or no, famous face at the end of the table, Kieran Auld. Kieran, how you doing?
I know, I'm pretty buzzing with that right there, but
nice introduction.
It's good to be back. I mean, glad we're talking about a win at the weekend. For a long time during that game, I thought this podcast that we'd already planned for the Monday would have been a bit more sombre, but things have worked out very well for Celtic over the weekend, and I'm buzzing for Champions League nights to be back on Wednesday. Massive game.
Well, you're right, because it could have been a sombre tone. It's not a sombre tone. In fact, we've got loads to actually get through, talking points wise, quiz wise, Twitter questions. We've got the whole shebang for you, so we'll try and get it done in as close to an hour as possible, but we've got to start somewhere, and I feel like we may as well start with the weekend, since we've mentioned it so much already. It is in the past, and it's time to move on, and it's time to preview Europe, but we cannot ignore the dramatics that we seen on Saturday night.
Well, where do you start with the weekend? Does it start on Friday night when Rio Hatate signed his new deal?
Yeah,
Does it start on Saturday morning when Matt O'Reilly signed his new deal? Or do you go with the game?
Well, let's start with the contracts, because
that's a good place to start.
A massive bit of business from Celtic.
It's a power statement. It's a power play from Celtic completely, to sign up two of their biggest assets, I would say, definitely in the midfield. To consolidate that midfield three, you've got McGregor, Hatate and now O'Reilly, all on new deals, all know that they're, at least on paper, long term they're going to be at Celtic Park, or if they're not, especially for the latter two, you would say, then teams are going to have to pay a premium price for these players to be able to get them away from their contract. They're under contract for the long term future. Their values will be up. They'll be on a hefty pay rise. I read the news today that Matt O'Reilly's apparently on a huge pay rise.
Really?
So you don't know how much that'll be. What we're thinking, 40k a week maybe?
I would maybe even say upwards of 40.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how much McGregor's on, because they're not going to pay more than the captain.
But we did say at the time, I remember, we were talking about, would that moving of the needle mean that other contracts are now adjusted? Because especially for Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate, they would have still been on the same contracts that they were on in 2022 when they joined the club. This is their first extension for Celtic, so I think they'll now be well recompensed for their actual ability on the park now, with their wages off of it.
Kieran, Matt O'Reilly, Brendan Rodgers spoke about him very honestly in the press, saying that there was a very good chance he could have moved on in the transfer window. Teams were interested, and that was something he didn't want to hide, and said there was a realistic chance he could go. Rio Hatate was somebody who, according to the body language and attitude police, couldn't wait to get out the door. So you've got two players here who realistically could have moved on in the summer transfer window, yet they've committed their future to Celtic. Just how big is that?
I mean, it's massive. I mean, even from a financial standpoint, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that these two are going to be at Celtic for the way Kyogo signed his deal, and I think that's one of the more realistic ones. You think he'll stay for his prime years? If you're being realistic, hate to bring a dampener, but it's there to get the money.
Yep.
But at least we know that when they do eventually leave, we'll be well compensated for it. Because there was talks of Matt O'Reilly getting bids of £10 million in that for Southampton and all that, like just before the end of the transfer window. And what leg is that for the £10 million? So, it's nice to see them on deals anyway, and hopefully, I mean, I would love to see them stay a bit longer, but it is massive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that the summer we've seen in terms of contracts, to be honest. I think at the start of the window, I would have liked to have seen maybe one or two of those players get a contract extension, but now we're looking at Kyogo, Abada, Maeda, McGregor, O'Reilly, Hatate. Then you can throw in the extensions for Ralston, Welsh as well. A lot of business being done by the club. And you used the term, power play, Ryan. It feels like that the club are now willing to maybe go that extra mile to solidify themselves at the top. So you hope that's maybe a first step under Brendan Rodgers to maybe say, okay, financial backing next year summer will match these these better contracts. Yeah, they get a lot of stick after releasing those numbers, those record profits, but now I think you can begin to see where those profits are now going towards. Maybe I put out a tweet the other day saying maybe those £10-15 million players that were getting talked about, with that war chest at Brendan Rodgers, maybe they're already at the club. Maybe you just need to pay them more money, and they'll put in better performances. They're on proper contracts now. It's not as if it's their baby contract when they've just signed for the club. Now Celtic know how good they are, and they're getting paid for how good they are, and that's great. And I think you did see a difference. I mean, we'll go into the game in a minute, but I thought Hatate was good at the weekend as well, up until he got kicked in the face. Aye. But then, and I think it's against all the body language experts. Hatate was on the ground for about 4 or 5 minutes. There's 2 holes in his face, and he still continued on for a further, 40-50 minutes after that. Yep. He was only taken off because Brendan Rodgers took him off tactically, not because there was an injury or that.
he put his body on the line in that game, and these things. I don't think you forget about these things in a hurry. He's very willing, and I think you'll only see him go from strength to strength here, because now he's settled and he knows where he has to be.
Yeah, Kieran, as somebody who, just to finish us off, as somebody who was very vocal on Twitter and on this podcast in regards to those who said that Hatate was desperate to get away and that he shouldn't be starting games, is it good to see a contract signed, and does it just give you that kind of personal sort of joy seeing that?
I mean, because some of the takes were getting ridiculous, as Ryan said about the body language police after, was it the Feyenoord game? I seen somebody saying they would rather David Turnbull get starts because Hatate's just wanting away. I'm just glad we can hopefully put that tiresome stuff to bed for it until at least the end of the season before we need to start dealing with this over and over again. But no, it's good because these are players. Hatate especially is one that like you asked me just before the summer, one player you think that's going to leave Celtic. I thought it was going to be him this summer.
Yep.
Fortune's had it so that it's Starfelt and Jota and other players have left Celtic, but it's one I wasn't expecting, but it's a welcome surprise, like if you were to say this to me a few months ago, because you want somebody at Hatate's level, because whilst he's maybe getting himself back to full match sharpness and fitness in the Champions League, I think he'll be invaluable, because he's somebody that we've seen in games last year looked like he belonged at that level, and we're talking about, like as McGinlay said, about buying in these players of quality. When you've got people like that in the squad, you want to keep them there, and you definitely need them, especially for big games like we've got coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about Wednesday after the half-time quiz, so if you're here for your match preview, then stick with us, because we've got a little bit to talk about, and that is the dramatics that we seen on Saturday. Quite poetic that Matt O'Reilly started the day with a new contract and then ended the day with that last gasp winner. We thought we were down, dropping 2 points, but no, Celtic just keep going. And to quote a man that we knew quite well, we never stop, and that's the exact sort of attitude we seen at the weekend, right? Let's kind of talk about the game itself, the 90 minutes of football that was played in the park. What did you make of Saturday? Because it was a tough Motherwell that we came up against, Ryan. It was a resolute Motherwell side. They set up pretty well, and it's a side who now sit fifth, but at the time were fourth going into the game, and made it a difficult task for us.
I've got to give credit to Stuart Kettlewell, because even though he's got 0 points out of 9 with regard to St Mirren, Rangers and now Celtic, I think they're a really well run club, and they look really good on the park. They know their role. I think they're maybe a striker or two off of being maybe even further up the table, because they are well run, they're well coached and well managed. So yeah, credit to them. It was for large majorities of the game, I thought Celtic weren't that bad on Saturday, funnily enough. Yes, there was a lot of passing, maybe a wee bit of overpassing, trying to score the perfect goal. Then they were wasting silly chances, but it's difficult because they're not taking their chances, and that is a big part of the game. But the passing was there. The passing was okay. The midfield was working well. McGregor was playing well. What's his name? I can't even remember his name. Matt O'Reilly's touches.
Oh, do you not forget Matt's name?
I know, I've been talking about that. I must have used the phrase or name Matt O'Reilly more than any other this season. Honestly, it's every single game I'm singing his praises. But some of those touches in the second half, when he's trying to make things happen, he's just I don't think the TV does him justice, to be honest. I think you've got to watch him and really focus on him for 10 minutes to see how good he is with his close control on the ball. For being one of Celtic's biggest outfield players, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", round about that height, he's incredible with the ball at his feet. But yeah, a lot of the game was turgid. That was thanks to Motherwell's good tactics, and they were negating Celtic's positive play, or Celtic were trying to play positively and Motherwell weren't allowing it. But I don't think Celtic were awful. Like I hear about this horrible performance, this and that. I don't think they were. I think Motherwell were just very well drilled, and Celtic had to take their time to find the breakthrough, and they found the breakthrough, albeit twice.
Kieran, same question to you. What do you make of the weekend? Because it's a tough place to go, Fir Park. It's not easy. And Brendan Rodgers' first visit there back in 2016 was obviously met with dramatics as well, and just like this time, we've had to match similar. So, yeah, what did you think of the game in general?
I mean, it's a game when you're watching it at the time, it feels like a bit of a slog because, as McGinlay said, Motherwell, they definitely gave a good account of themselves at the weekend. As you say, it's a really well-drilled team, but it's frustrating from their point of view because we can't really get things done, especially in the final third. You're seeing a lot of build-up play. Defenders are holding onto the ball for quite a long time. You needed like a killer pass, and I felt like we were never really helped with the wingers initially until Palmer and that came on, but I feel Yang was trying, but he's still missing a wee bit of directness, I think, for my liking. I that's not even just a slight on him. I just think that was us over.
He's very raw, isn't he?
I felt like we were doing well to try and get the ball up the park, but then when we go there, we looked a wee bit bereft of ideas. But I think that's why you've got substitutions. Players come on to change the game, and it's good to know that. I mean, a lot has been made this season about our squad depth, and there no being players on. Like people looking at the bench, like we are so much weaker than last season, and there's nobody to come on and change the game. But it knows. Like obviously people were talking about Palmer as if he was written off after that game away to Feyenoord, so I'm buzzing for him to get the goal because I'm hoping that's him set off the mark now, and I know we'll come on to Wednesday, but I think he's definitely put himself in the starting lineup with that.
And just to a similar note to that, not even just for Palmer, Kieran, you know, a win like that, despite what your opinions are on the 90 minutes itself and the performance itself, it's results like that keep the whole team's confidence going. And we're getting better, you know, because the start of the season, let's admit, like there was doubts. A lot of people were a bit worried and maybe a bit more pessimistic about the direction we were heading in, and we looked a little bit systemless, if you like. But I feel like every week goes by and it's getting more evident the changes that Brendan Rodgers is trying to implement in this team. So results, be it 97th minute winners or not, you can definitely see the improvements in what the whole team are trying to do.
I think it was a huge one for mentality of the team, because I mean we speak about the never stop mantra that seems to still be sticking around, which is nice to see. But it's like we've spoken about in the podcast how I feel like this season has been very stop start with like the performances and the reaction for the fans. So it's like it goes from right with class to back to horrible. I feel like if we didn't get that the win on Saturday, I feel like it would have just continued. That would have prolonged it a wee bit too much into the season, because we're 7 games in now, and I feel like there's been about 3 times this season where everybody's went, right, that was piss poor, or like just no good enough, and it's always something that triggers it again. But it's nice to see, and hopefully it's a case of building momentum, because especially with the other events that took place over the weekend, we probably won't mention because everybody knows what we're talking about.
Rest in peace.
But I think it's a huge one, because especially the fact that they would have all got their hopes up when they seen it was 1 each, and then I hope there was a lot of tears when it went to
90 seconds of bliss for them, eh?
Let's get on to that. It's just a thought of like you just know, and I seen somebody tweeting this, and I can't remember who it was to give them credit, but it's a thought that has resonated through us all, I believe. Just the thought of like somebody going on the subway at 1 each, losing their signal, buzzing, happy as Larry, coming off the subway, and bang, it's 2-1 Sellik. Like that amuses me.
And I've heard quite a few amusing tales alongside a certain Rangers pub being informed of somebody that was full time at 1 each, and there was let's just say a host of celebrations that were then quickly brought back down to earth. So it's always nice to hear.
Beautiful. It's tears that I love most, I must say.
It feels a bit like Groundhog Day, because this happens every year now. It seems that a manager on the blue side of the city seems to go, whether that be Steven Gerrard down to Aston Villa or Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
3 years in the trot.
I know, it's getting a bit predictable, isn't it? It's long-term planning
change
and all
the
that.
story, man.
It's another manager that Brendan Rodgers has seen off. They're all.
But it was maybe the other way about. Remember, it was maybe the other way about.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ange Postecoglou was running scared of Beale. Winning against Liverpool.
Ange's lucky. Remember, he's lucky. That's all it is. We'll come on to talking about.
They never will.
We'll kind of talk about the consequences of that in a moment when we kind of talk about the aftermath of this. But we've got to talk about the closing segment of that game. Celtic going ahead through Luis Palma. We then draw level, or they draw level, I should say, and then bang, we take the lead again. It was a nuts final chapter to the game. Wow. That's what I can really say about it.
What I would say is it's 3 good goals. Now I know Liam Scales is a bit culpable for the Blair Spittle goal, because he just gets beat by his man. He kind of half goes for it and half
it's
not.
It's a shame to actually say it though, isn't it? Because he had such a good game.
I thought he was one of the man of the match. Yeah. One of the man of the match performances for me. He was winning absolutely everything. It was just that one lapse, and it cost you. That's what happens at Celtic. You've got to be 100% concentrated, or you will get capitalised on. Even more so in Europe, but it happens domestically as well. That 3 good goals, Palma's goal in particular is a great goal because even if it's a cross or if it's a goal, if he's meant to do that, I think it is a
He's
cross.
putting it into the danger area.
It's undefendable. That the pace he puts that in and the swing on it. There's a
reason why the defenders left it, because they were scared they were going to put
Casey
it.
completely leaves it because he knows that if he touches it, it's an own goal. It bounces right in front of Kelly and then it goes in. But he's scored goals like this before. If you've watched his highlights, you know he scored direct from a corner, doing something quite similar to that. I think it's a massive goal for Palma, and he'll be absolutely buzzing with confidence just now.
I'm
you've
so
got
happy
to
to
start him on Wednesday. You've got to feed upon that.
I would start him as well. I think that Palma coming on in the closing stages of the game, Kieran, showed that there is quality in the player there. And I think if you compare him with Yang, I think both of them have a sort of rawness to their game just because they're both new at Celtic. But I think that Palma's probably a bit more polished than Yang is, and you can see that in the goal that he scored with the quality and the technique in it.
I mean, it's what I spoke about earlier, directness. Like, if you're going out your way to put this, we're speaking about putting the ball in there into the danger area. I feel like Yang's been trying to beat his man. That I like that as well, but it's just not been working out. But it's nice. I suppose Palma kind of came in for a bit of stick after Feyenoord, but I suppose there's a difference between Feyenoord and Motherwell. So, like, it would be able to, if we can keep this up and gone into Europe, that would be ideal. But I mean, at least we know there's a player there that is hungry to try and do something for the team. So it's just, I feel like we've been a bit with the winger situation this season. Like, I keep using the whole stop-start thing, but you don't really know where the momentum's building for what players, and there's been a wee bit of changeover. We are bad at getting injured, so it's kind of, you're looking for somebody to step up. And we spoke about before Palma came in about the numbers he had for Aris, and saying how we needed somebody that's going to plug a gap that Jota's left in the team for goals and assists. So hopefully he can kick on and be the man this season to step up and take it, especially with a bad at it for so long, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I mean, if he could replicate those numbers that he had for Aris, then you've got your answers. But it's just about waiting and seeing, and no point in jumping in 2 foot on either side. He's going to be the best. He's going to be the worst. Yeah, it's no point.
They just hope.
Unknown quantity in this situation is Marco Tellio, who's now back in full training.
Yeah.
Now, Brendan Rodgers has name dropped him a couple of times in post-match press conferences. That can usually mean one of a couple of things. I think he's doing something in training that Brendan Rodgers likes instantly.
I really hope so.
You know, there was a bit of buzz when he came in, especially from Australia. A lot of people were like, this guy's the real deal. Like, it's a step up in quality, but he was the best player by some distance in that Melbourne City team that were cuffed by Mariners and what's his name? The Montgomery, that's the Hibs manager now. Jason Cummins, I think, scored in that game. But there was definitely a lot of buzz about him. Unfortunately, he came into the club injured. This is him just getting back into first team training. He's the sort of guy that you would want to see on Saturday against Kilmarnock, especially if they're a couple of goals up. Maybe Palma gets a couple of goals, or Maeda gets 1 or 2, and then they can come off and bring Marco Tellio on. Let's see more of this guy, or
is
any of this guy whatsoever.
Is he up to the point now where you could get started?
Well,
is the way it's been getting said in press conferences, isn't it? Aye.
He's just been talking about how he's nearly there, hasn't he?
I know he's in first team training.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
He played in that testimonial. Did you know?
That is true. Yeah.
Somebody said it was very. I never realised how short he was. Like,
It's tiny.
Probably end up hearing more of an update come Friday for the pre-match press conference. Probably the time they're back for. Oh no, wait, we're home this week. Say back for Rome. We're fucking home. So we'll probably hear more about it. But mad closing stages to the game. Any quick final comments on Saturday? Obviously, now the one thing that we do need to touch on is we now sit 4 points clear at the top of the table. We sit 7 points clear of Rangers, and they are now without a manager. They are scrambling at Ibrox. It's right now about just taking our stride a game at a time, keep building on what we're doing, and I'm not going to come out here and say we've done or anything like that just yet, even though I might want to, but I'm not going to. I wouldn't do that. But if Celtic just keep doing what they're doing while they're scrambling for a manager, they could have this title wrapped up pretty quickly, because I think Rangers are a long way away from being sorted.
Notably, the teams you're just discussing there play each other this weekend as well.
Where we could be set. We could potentially be 10 clear of Rangers
if St Mirren win. But I suppose a whole new manager bounds into it. I feel like that usually happens. But if you were saying about final thoughts on the game, I was going to say Scott Bain.
Two massive saves.
He made big saves. Like I don't. At the time, I was thinking they're probably ones he should be saving, but you're expecting that for a Celtic goalkeeper to make them. But I think it was nice to see that he's not completely rusty and he's being able to step up and do it, because the man does have the easiest job in world football.
Yeah, he does. He's got like that season ticket with the added benefits of being paid for it. So I wish I was him.
Do you not think Alistair Johnston's having a quietly really good season as well?
Yeah,
like he's just going about his business, but there is a...
It's just because he plays in that unglamorous position of being a right back, isn't it?
No, and he would tell you that as well, David.
It's good because before he came back from injury, talking about right back was a problem for us at the start of the season, so it's nice to just have somebody that can come in, do the job. I thought he was actually playing really well against Motherwell at the weekend. Defensively, he was making the right tackles and that, especially when there was a couple of times where they went in the break and he was the last man back, coming for corners and that, so it's good to see. It's just, you need that solidity in the back line, and for the Celtic back line especially, that's had so much chop and change since the start of the season. But I was going to say one more thing about Scales. I mean, he's coming in for a lot of praise, and I think, do you know what I think it is? It's because I tweeted saying that Stevie May ended his Celtic career.
You simply
prove me wrong, Leo.
You simply gave him the kick up the arse.
One last thing I was going to say, you've got to give special credit as well to Greg Taylor. Now, I don't think he had the best game, but it's one of those. It's one of those ones where it's the opposite of Scales, when I don't think he was having the best game. Be it he came up trumps right at the end, even though
it was him that put the ball in.
Yeah, it was him with the assist.
I think he's been showing steady improvement though. I think the first couple of games of the season there was a genuine concern as to whether or not he would be good enough or able to.
There is a reason for that, because he's playing more inverted now. Like there has been
you can see that there's a noticeable difference, isn't there?
I noticed that at the start of the game at Fir Park, he was coming inside very.
That's where you've got to credit the manager as well. He's realised what he can do to allow players to be better, to ultimately make the team better, and it's working.
Hope he's alright for Wednesday though, because I don't really want to see Scales out there. If Scales is going to be in the team, I want to see him at centre back. Obviously, get that knock.
Yeah.
A quite shocking tackle from I can't remember the boy's name from Motherwell, but if he studs him. If he puts any studs on him, it's a red card. He's just lucky with the way
left it right in his knee, man.
It was
sorry, I'm yawning away here quite
terribly.
No, not at all. I can't help it. Saying to Kieran the way here, my sleeping patterns up the Swally, it's been horrible. We're all busy lads. We all work hard, We deserve a yawn at 8:15. God, usually wrapped up in bed. Right, it's good. It builds confidence for Wednesday, and in a few moments' time, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Wednesday. We're going to talk about our confidence for Wednesday, because it is the main chunk of today's podcast. But before that, we have our first game of the episode. It's time for a half-time quiz today, which is going to be a joint effort from the two of you. I think we've played this once before, but I'm not entirely sure, because maybe we haven't. But today, for the halftime quiz, it's going to be name that lineup. Okay. So you've got to name the 11 players who played in a specific game, and today we're keeping it obviously related to what we see on Wednesday.
It's going to be the Lazio.
It's going to be one of them. So listen to the briefing. Thank you to Kieran once again for another cracking halftime quiz. I'll leave it to those who are willing, but I decided on a new halftime game that will only air for the Champions League and or when the 4-man squad are on. So this is a Champions League special, because it's this is not a regularly scheduled day. Usually the podcast's up on a Friday. It's Tuesday when this is up. So the lads basically have to guess starting 11 and correct substitutions. So there you go. And I did find correct substitutions from a significant game in our history. Should any of the boys get it wrong, they are frozen out for the rest of the game. So you're going, somebody's going to get a touch, somebody else is going to get a touch, and then blah blah blah, okay. And then whoever gets the most will win. Today's a nice and easy one, and we're going to focus on the game that relates to our upcoming opponents and the night we went head over heels in the Olympico. So Kieran, can you remember, because you were there? Ryan, can you remember, because you probably watched in the telly sober?
True.
So this is going to be a nice test, and because Kieran beat me in the full-time quiz last week, I'm going to allow Kieran to start, and you don't need to start from you don't need to start from goalkeeper, but you can if you want. But as soon as you get one wrong, you're frozen out until I set you back.
I mean, I'll go James Forrest, first goal scorer that night for us.
Correct. That's one.
Did he play that night? Did I go for Fraser Forster?
Correct.
Christopher Julian.
Correct.
They include subs as well, did you
say?
Yes. And Charm then?
Correct. There was 3 substitutes, by the way.
Okay.
Right, so Christopher Ajer.
Correct. So you've got 5 out of 14. McGinlay.
Let me think.
Don't overthink it.
Edward.
Edward, correct. 6.
El Yunusi.
Correct. Flying here, boys.
Seems to be one. I
Halfway
remember.
there. 7 out of 14.
El Hamid.
Yes.
Actually, pure can I think who started right back?
He started right back that night, so that's 8.
Scott Brown.
Scott Brown, correct. 9.
Have we said Christie?
No, we haven't said Christie, so there you go. 10 out of 14. There's only 4 left, 2 of them being starting 11 players, and 2 of them being substitutes.
Calum McGregor.
Correct.
And then
So McGinley, there's
Can
only
I
one
remember?
more starting 11 player that hasn't been said,
I
and
know.
then there's 2 people who were brought on off the bench.
Thinking left back. It could be one of 2.
So right now you need.
I know, I don't know about one of the
You-
two.
you-
I'm
need
trying to
to-
think if he played.
You need to get this right to tie Kieran. If you don't get it right, you're in a bit of a sticky wicket.
So you're seeing subs as well.
Yes, 2 subs left and 1 outfield player.
Got 2 signed that season. There's one that I can think in my head.
I don't know if this guy I'm thinking a sub here. I don't want to guess the left back because I'm not sure what one of them started that night. But I've got another player that I think might have came on.
So can you read through the ones that we've got so far, please?
So far you've got Fraser Forster, Hatem El Ahmed,
right back.
Chris Julian,
Oh.
Chris Ajer. You've not got a left back. Scott Brown, Calum McGregor, James Forrest, Ryan Christie, and El Yunusi, and Edward. And then the bench you've got in Cham.
Midfielders. Oh my god. Are we missing a midfielder? Did
No,
you
you're only missing the left back for the start.
Only
11.
missing a left back.
Yeah, and then the 2 people who came off the bench.
Ball and goalie.
No, it wasn't Ball.
So it
and
was Johnny
goalie.
Hayes, then.
Correct. Johnny Hayes started at left back
That mean I'm
in
out.
the Olympico, which means you're out, which means Kieran's
shit,
got
man.
2 more than you.
See, I've got one. See what I'm thinking in my head. Like I'm thinking of the photos of them coming out of the fans after, and I'm looking at them all in my head in
If
the
you
photo.
get one of these 2 subs, you've won.
Moritz Bauer.
Correct. Moritz Bauer did come off the bench. Well done, Kieran.
And then can I think
Go
of
on, go on. Get a stab in the dark.
who the fuck that came on? Because one of the wingers wouldn't have lasted the full game, would have. I don't even know who.
You've won anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I know. I can't think. Just tell me.
Lewis Morgan.
No, it was near Beaton.
Oh, I wouldn't even.
Near Beaton.
That was the classic one.
It was the
But
3rd sub to come off the bench. So just to run through it very quickly, well done, Kieran, who got more than Ryan. I've not counted exactly how many, but we got more. Fraser Forster started in goals with a back 4 of Hatem Abdel Ahmed, Christopher Julian, Christopher Ajer, and Johnny Hayes. The midfield centre midfielders were Scott Brown and Calum McGregor. Then and ahead of them was James Forrest, Ryan Christie, and Mohamed El Yunusi, and up front was Odson Edouard. Olivier and Cham came on in the game for, I believe, was one of the wingers, maybe. I think he maybe came on for, I can't remember. Near Beaton came on as well, and then Moritz Bauer, who came on during it. So there you go. That's your 14 players. Nice. Enjoyed that.
that was fun.
Quick and blissful. So talking about Lazio, it's time for the serious conversation. We need to have a conversation about Wednesday night because Celtic's Champions League campaign continues, and for the first time this season we will play at Celtic Park. Champions League is back, and just on that note, you've already kind of briefly mentioned it, so I'll start with Kieran. How excited are you for the match day experience of the Champions League?
I mean, I'm buzzing for it. You always are when it comes round to it. I mean, last year was the first time in, what was it, like 5 seasons at that point?
Yep.
Since we had last played in it. So obviously we got the taste of it last year, but this year you're hoping we can kick on. But I think it's massive already because if you got a draw in Rotterdam, we'd have been sitting here, it would have been a bit more lenient, but Feyenoord have got 3 points on the board already. On paper, they're the team gone into it that everybody thought we would need to compete for at least 3rd place. So we're back to the point of, as much as it might be a difficult task, we need to win on Wednesday night. Yep. And I don't think, I think nobody else is in denial about that because I think it's do or die right now. Even though it's only match day 2, we've got a massive uphill battle and then we're relying on other results going in our favour to try and help us. So it's huge, and I'm hoping people aren't just assuming this is going to be like 4 years ago and realise that, like, I feel like we've been a bit complacent with sometimes playing teams in the Champions League. Before Feyenoord, I spoke about how people see a team as no being as big a threat as the other two and automatically assume it should be a game we should be winning comfortably. Just because we've beat Lazio the last time doesn't mean it might go like that this time. But as I said, we're coming off the back of a good win at the weekend. They got beat off AC Milan in all fairness, but it's still a defeat. They've had a bit of a stop-start season themselves. They beat Napoli away, but then they've been beat off Lecce and Genoa.
I've had a pretty
beat off Juventus as well.
rough start, yeah.
So they'll be looking to try and get... Like, Sarri came out and said, I'm sure after they beat... Who was it they beat last weekend? I think it was Torino. And he came out and said that he was hoping they can kickstart for that point.
It was Torino.
And then they got beat off AC. So we're hoping that this isn't their bounce back game and we can further add to the misery of Maurizio Sarri. He's smoking snout on the touchline.
We'll see him.
I know,
We'll see him there outside the CSA having a fag when we're out.
Oh, that's who team bus just pulls up.
3 minutes, what are you doing, son? You're having club, there you go. Ryan, yeah, they've had a rocky start to the season, Lazio. 7 games played, only 2 wins, 4 losses. Granted, the losses have been against decent sides. Obviously, Juventus and Milan being part of it, that Kieran has mentioned. But they are a team that's filled with quality. And
Just having a look at that.
it's welcoming quality to Celtic Park again, which, you know, people will have their opinions on where they stand in this group, and maybe it should be our best chance of winning, considering how they've been. But as Kieran said, sometimes there's a complacency. You've got to realise it's a side that finished second in Serie A last season. It's a side that has significant quality over the park. It's got to be a tough gig for Celtic on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's an elite manager as well, and I've always said that Brendan Rodgers is an elite manager. So is Maurizio Sarri. I think his football is really, really easy on the eye, or easy to watch. You just look at their team that they've got. Some real like household names from the past, and Pedro's still kicking a ball, which I didn't even know. He's still playing at a good level.
I've seen him at Celtic Park a few times.
Yeah,
He's played on both sides of the divide in Rome.
Yep.
Kamada, that was played for
Felipe Anderson.
Felipe Anderson was
he's
at
been
West
at
Ham
Lazio for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, that's stint at West
Guendouzi
Ham
as well.
wasn't it?
Guendouzi that was at Arsenal. Ciro Immobile, you know, one of the best
I think
strikers of his
the big
generation.
difference this season is the fact that they've lost Milinkovic-Savic. He's the big one. He went to Saudi Arabia.
That was
He's away
that
there.
was so self-inflicted, that, because they were talking about how, I remember their owner was saying that they rejected like a bid of like 100 million for him or something, and then they didn't sell him for that much.
I think it was like 40 million,
which is derisory for a player of Milinkovic-Savic's quality. He's been so good in Serie A for the past 8-9 years, you would say. He's been one of the most consistent players.
He's a player that constantly are getting linked to teams like Man United and that for the past 7 years, but glad that headache's been put to bed.
They are a good side, Ryan. And it's going to take a strong Brendan Rodgers performance. Now, cast your mind back to 2016, our first game at Celtic Park under Brendan Rodgers in the Champions League. We drew 3 each with Manchester City. It was a fantastic performance from the boys that night. The squad is better now than it was then. Can we channel some of that magic on Wednesday? Do you have faith? That's my question.
Yeah, I do have faith. The fact that it's at Celtic Park as well, it gives you that confidence going into the game. Celtic could beat anyone at Celtic Park, just the way those games go. Albeit, I know they've not won a Champions League game in 10 years, in a decade. So that is an absolutely shocking. God. I know there has been
a Champions League home game before. Somehow we've had the away win against Anderlecht since
that one time.
We actually played. I remember in Cham was having an absolute shocker, and then that pass into Tierney to Griffiths was absolutely incredible. Talk about a player that can definitely turn it on like that.
Yep.
These records, these unwanted records, are there to be broken at the end of the day, and something needs to be done about it. I was just looking at their team as well. They've also got that guy that was up front for Girona last season. Remember that Castellanos? The one that was at New York City that scored in every second game basically. So they've got loads of. They've got notable names there.
Ciro Immobile, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, Ciro Immobile, who's 32 now or something like that. He had that mid-period in his career where he was up and down, when he was at Sevilla, when he was at Borussia Dortmund. But he's definitely found a home at Lazio, and his numbers speak for themselves. He's one of the best Italian the best Italian striker of his generation, which says a lot about that generation. But he's still the top.
No, I think it's weird, but it's like, see, thinking back to when we beat Lazio home and away last time, Europa League. I mean, they were top of the Serie A, were they? No, they were flying.
They were hot at the time, and then we done the double
under Inzaghi.
But I mean, I think they had had an excuse for the game at Celtic Park, saying they rested players and all that, but then we went and done it in Rome. So it's weird because we went into the games with the whole mindset of like, they're high flyers, this could be bad, and then we get the win against them both times, and now we're facing them. Well, they've arguably got a stronger squad bar Milinkovic-Savic, but they're in a position to know where they're not been doing great, and it's really stop-start, but it gives you a bit more hope. But it's one of the ones that could come back to bite you, because you let yourself get the hopes up because they've not been very good.
One of the most important things that we need to talk about going into this game is the lessons that we learned against Rotterdam. Because it's all very well and good talking about how we were in the Champions League last season, but at the end of the day, it's different manager, different time. Feyenoord was the first real look that we got at this Celtic side, and for a large portion of that game, we managed to go toe to toe with them until we dug our own grave and we gave away a stupid goal and we got 2 men sent off. This really needs to be a game where Celtic keep the head, and not just. I don't even feel like, I don't mean keep the head in terms of like, don't tackle and don't get fired up. I just mean like, just be smart, man. Like, we gave away a silly free kick which led to a silly goal, and we just let things unravel from there. Wednesday night, we don't have room for any of that. This has got to be now job focused, defend smart, attack smart, and take your chances.
There's no wiggle room whatsoever. It's a must win early on. I'd say in the group stage, I think my dad was saying it's a must not lose. I think it's more of a must win.
I think it's a must win.
Celtic have got to be getting probably about 7 points from their home games and something away from home to get any sort of qualification, I would say. It's going to be one of those groups where teams take points off each other. It's just all about where Celtic find themselves at the end of that. I'll say it right now. I think third would be a great achievement in this group. Between second and third, I think first is pie in the sky stuff. But
second, I think is solely dependent on how everything else goes. But I don't see a situation where I can see Feyenoord getting points off the other two teams in this group. I don't think you've got the reliance. So you've been in groups with teams in the past where you think they'll probably get beat off by the big teams as well. But it's just so annoying because after the first game, you're now looking at this second one as it is a must win.
Because there's just there's the room for Wednesday night to be met with such disappointment, and that's annoying. Because what's happened to the camera? How's that happened? We're back. Sorry, storage ran out in the SD card there. But the point I was going to make was there is such an opportunity to leave with a lot of disappointment on Wednesday, which I can't really be bothered with, because after match day 2, it's not like I want to be leaving the ground going, oh, it's it finished. But there's a real chance that could be it. So I don't know. It's just weird. I don't like that.
I know, it's horrible to have that much pressure,
especially when things are getting positive. You know what I mean?
I know.
Just for it then to go back to.
That's what you're hoping for, but because there's this era wave and era positivity, now hopefully we can build on it. The momentum.
So how many points did we have after the first 2 match days last year? Was it 1? Did we play Shakhtar in match day 2? So we had 1 point by the end of match day 2.
But that was a big point. But we drew with the team would have been competing for third place away from home.
Whereas the team we were competing with for third place arguably was Feyenoord. So and
they've got 3 points on the board. So we really need them to get beaten for us to win this week.
Yep, to kind of level things back out. Oh, it's got to be horrible.
I just cannot be bothered with the up and down of this season
anymore.
I just want a bit of positivity.
It's generally 1 week.
You know what? Just cancel the Champions League. In fact,
we just go to the Europa League. But then again, I like having the Saturday games to contend with as well. You know, there's going to be so much positivity, I would say, with regard to the league, that maybe the disappointments of the Champions League will be the main source of annoyance for people. And that is where Rodgers was going to get judged. You know, as much as we thought there might have been a title challenge this year, there still might be if Rangers bring in somebody credible and they can wrestle it. But it seems as if it was Europe that Rodgers was going to get judged on. That was what everyone was saying when he came back to the club. You know, all of a sudden, not that there's a lot of pressure on this game, but there's a wee bit of expectation that something needs to. There needs to be a delivery of some sort on Wednesday night, I would say.
I'm hoping the atmosphere's rocking on Wednesday, because we're going into it, especially the way the weekend played it. I feel there's a lot of momentum more wider now if we can just keep that going. Obviously, it's always bouncing before the game, but what you need is Celtic to come flying out the traps, because we've spoken about how the atmosphere kind of goes a bit flat, and that's obviously merged into, like, on the park especially. I mean, against Real Madrid, we came out flying out the traps, every wee ball, everybody's right after seats, but yeah, if you come after and you're sitting after them to begin with, then it's obviously going to make the atmosphere go a bit flat. But I'm thinking with the way we got that win, and we're talking about players getting contracts now, a lot of people have got stuff to prove. Hopefully Rodgers tells them to go right at it for the beginning, because I don't want to see us try to sit after them, because I feel like that's just going to end horribly. We might as well go for it.
There's only one thing that we can all do as supporters, and that's get absolutely blittered.
Yes, we will.
Right, look at that game against Rangers in February of 2021. 2022. My
Don't
bad.
look at any of our games.
Look at that February 2022 game. Lessons to be learned. We all got pissed.
Maybe the drunkest Celtic Park crowd in recent history.
And look how that went for us. So we need to replicate it.
Everybody get a half day in.
I want everybody. We started at about 3 that day, didn't we? I had
a half day in.
I want everybody 3 o'clock.
That day.
We were in uni that day because I had to drive up there. The minute I was in, Boulder Buckfast was open. And that's what I want people to be treating Wednesday like, right? So, only if you're 18 or over. I'm not.
I remember you can't be the purveyors of underage drinking in Scotland.
That's right. So if you're not, then I hope you're sober at the game. But as for me, I'll be having a few pints. Any pre-match rituals for yourself? You're working?
Yep, I'm working. So I will be sober for this game. And you know, I'm off the drink anyway.
I'm the same. I had to pass up and drink at the weekend, really. Saying
that's not good, but I mean, it is good.
You can't see it after drink as well, Ryan. You just never went out on Saturday.
I know, here's me talking about drinking Wednesday and drinking Saturday. Oh, God. Right, let's do team predictions then, because it's a big team selection for Brendan Rodgers with a few kind of dilemmas in certain positions. So, Joe Hart's returning goals. Let's be real, it's going to happen. I mean, you can say what you like about Bane on Saturday, but it's not going to change.
It's going to be Hart.
Yeah, it's going to be Hart. Back 4 then. Will it be the same?
No.
It can't be.
I know.
Is suspended.
That's right. So yes, thank you for reminding me.
That's what we're here for.
So Ryan's about to say once home to start in the thing.
Cameron Carter-Vickers is obviously not back. He won't be back until after the international break. So how do we fill that gap, Ryan McGinlay?
It's going to be Nat Phillips, isn't it? Yeah. I would say Nat Phillips and Liam Scales. Yeah, it's got to be. I think that's the reason why Nat Phillips has been brought in. You know, he had a good performance against AC Milan when he was playing for Liverpool. He needs a safe pair of hands or feet. He doesn't look spectacular, I've got to say. He doesn't set the header alight. Although he's passed to Greg Taylor for the assist. The assist was good, because that goal against Motherwell, he kind of picks out Greg Taylor in such a weird angle. Yeah. It's almost as if, why are you passing that way? And then everything opens up for him. But yeah, it's got to be Phillips and Scales.
I'm hoping this will be a game that maybe suits some Mid as well. If we're going to be getting battered about Middy's there, to just get the balls away, and like maybe I feel like in Motherwell he's getting too much time on the ball to maybe no make the right pass, whereas playing under the pressure, you've seen him, we're talking about him against AC Milan for Liverpool in the Champions League, so I'm going to say proven at that level, but I mean he's played there, he's done the business at the time, so
he was brought in for as well, so I'm hoping that he puts out a performance that makes us proud. Who knows, maybe he'll be the Christopher Jullien of the night, maybe would be ideal. Midfield 3, the Holy Trinity.
You just missed the fullbacks.
I said the whole back 4.
Did you? Well, Taylor's, we don't know if he's going to make it, the game.
He will.
Do you think so?
He will.
Okay.
He has to.
You're hearing from Ross Hall.
He will.
See if he doesn't, but
I should be at Celtic Park tomorrow. I should be. I believe I can make it. So I'll ask Brendan myself.
No, even in the press conference, just pull him aside.
We're good pals, me and Brendan. We shoot coins, we're mates. I will ask and I will find out. But I'm telling you, Taylor will be fine.
Okay. But let's talk about what happens if he isn't.
Yeah.
Is Bellamy getting thrown in? Is he injured?
Is Bellamy even registered?
He never got put in the squad, didn't he? So what happens there then?
So would it be Scales and a Wata?
Left back and
Imagine you're back imagine that, and you're starting back for number 2, Alistair Johnson, number whatever Scales and Phillips are, and then
That's a fucking Champions League level, Champions League qualifier level backline for Celtic right there.
I know, that's the curse. Because we've not got
something that I was going to mention as well. Sorry to go back to the Motherwell game again, but I think a large part of why Celtic aren't playing as well is because they don't have their defensive playmakers there as well. You know, Nawrocki and Carter Vickers, who are both quite good with the ball at their feet. You know, they've got that long range passing. Lagerbielke has it too to a lesser extent, but he cannot pass the ball 5 yards. Honestly, he is not a good passer of the ball for short distances. It seems as if the longer the pass, the better for him.
Strange.
It's very strange, but once they get Carter Vickers and Nawrocki back, then
we're manifesting Greg Taylor starting. We're manifesting it.
Okay.
It's gonna fucking happen, right?
Has to happen.
If it doesn't, then I'll tan a pint or something, I don't know.
Because we remember Liam Scales against Bodo Glimt away from home.
Just leave him in centre half, please.
That was when Ange threw a game, literally. Illegally threw a game.
Oh, there's Celtic advertising their half and half scarves.
I seen that.
Aye.
Hours ago.
Lazio. Half and half Lazio scarf. Great.
There was a joke in there that I was going to make for that middle scarf, but I'm not going to do it.
You can save it for after the show.
Yep.
I want to hear it. Right, midfield three the whole way to Trinity. It's got to be McGregor, O'Reilly and Hattati. There's no there's no discussion. It's that free. Front three though, a wee bit of discussion. Because Kieran, you said you'd like Palmer to start. Then obviously there's the opportunity for Yang or Forrest to start.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But realistically, what should be the front three, Kieran? Should it be Palmer, Maida and Kyogo?
Yep. I think there should be a discussion about it.
Yeah, me too.
No, I agree. That was quick.
Although now you've said it, I can see him playing.
I can see Forrest starting.
Yeah, he's hoping lightning strikes twice.
I can see it.
You're just
gone
hoping
against them.
If that's the case in Lazio, can they not just play their overaged winger and Pedro? Then, if that's fair enough.
Listen, there's a bit of difference between
Pedro
and James Forrest.
About 5 years of difference.
I'm not encouraging Pedro to play.
Pedro and James Forrest, man.
James Forrest.
Why are you just Pedro? He's a look.
33, 34.
36.
What? 6. God, he's getting old, isn't he?
And he hasn't went to Saudi?
He's a bit
He's Tenerife.
He's for Tenerife. Aye.
That always blows my mind a wee bit. There's actually people from Tenerife. There's not just people that go on holiday
Look
there.
at Rafa Nadal, he's from Mallorca.
I know.
So
people living on islands. There's a camera.
Are you taking the mic a second time? How? I hope that's the last time that this camera cuts out. I don't know what that's about today, because there's room in that SD. We're still marvelled at Pedro. For some reason, it's turned into the Pedro podcast. Pedro Caixinha. Right, we've got our team predictions done. It's time. Score predictions. Are we optimistic?
2-1 Celtic.
Oh, I'm fancying a 2-1 Celtic.
5-0 Celtic. I'm going to go for 1 goal in the game. 1-0 Celtic. Forget a clean sheet, that'd be miraculous, right enough.
I just can't see a 1-0.
But I just want to keep it lower.
Sorry, ball,
this is it. It's huge. It's a massive game, but I'm just buzzing to be back. And he's on the song and all that, you know.
We've got to keep that atmosphere going for the full game.
I know.
Not just the anthem.
I feel
like become a tourist atmosphere.
I think we spoke about the last time. I think it is down to the players in the park as well. If they give you a reason to keep going for the first whistle, but. I said, hopefully everybody's got the half day in. Yeah,
I've just realised that the camera's zoomed out, so deal with it. You'd probably see a little bit more.
You could zoom it in on the edit.
I can, but sometimes it crashes it, so we'll see.
You're far away now.
Aye, you're far away. Hi guys, can you see us? I know this was maybe the spectacular new free cat, and now it's turned into the camera cutting out twice special. Quality was meant to be up here, and now it's to at least the Spotify listeners won't need to want
they won't have a fucking clue.
They're just wanting to get on with the show. Right, talk about getting on with the show. Let's quickly get through our Twitter questions so we can get on to the quiz and get up the road, because it's 8:45 and I'm shattered. Right, are you ready for your Twitter questions, lads?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of questions today. I'm just going to dance through it. I don't want long, lengthy discussions. I want quick fire answers to whatever I decide to ask.
It's directly aimed at me, but it's all good.
It's not directly aimed at anybody.
It was me. I know I talk a lot.
Well, alright, no everything's about you, narcissist. God. Right, would you like to...
Sounded a bit like, what's his name for In Between Us? Well,
I've been compared
Get to the questions.
Would you like to see Scales and Vickers together when everybody is fit, or would you go straight back to Nawrocki and Cameron Carter Vickers?
The latter.
Alright, Kieran.
I don't know, I feel like it's Nah, I don't know. I'll go Navrowski as well.
I'd like, depending on how Skills plays in the next
I
few
think I'm
games.
being overly harsh on Skills
If
here.
he keeps his form up, no reason for him to get dropped. But also, Ryan Stephen F to sign on Yukuru for the career mode. Right. Remember on Yukuru. God. Thanks, Kevin. Doogie, do you think Celtic are now the Bayern Munich of the Scottish League? It is surely cemented if we win the league this season and scoop up 60 million for the Champions League. Are we the Scottish Bayern Munich?
We don't have a Scottish Harry Kane.
I can see where you're coming from. Dominance, though. And essentially, we are, essentially, aren't we? We just dominate this league. So, but Bayern won 10 in a row. So
we didn't.
And Dougie also says, can we get Kieran Auld CSC going?
Oh, why not?
I get a wee CSC. Where are we running the bus for? Down Tavern. Right. Shed Cabbage, can you see Brendan Rodgers running as soon as he gets offered the Premier League job? Are we not over this yet?
He says he's been here. He's going to be here for 3 years.
I
He can't
believe
afford not to.
He's going to be here, Kieran.
No.
Aye, good. Trust me on that. Shed and Cabbage.
Here for the 10.
Elliot says, if you had to bring back one player from the COVID season to replace a current player, who would you bring back? I think I'd go for from the COVID season. I think I would probably go for Christopher Ayer to come in. If I was to pick any,
I actually need
For right
defensive
now,
cover.
yeah.
I'd go for
I'd
Christopher
agree with
Ayer.
that. Even though everybody thought he was
Simple.
shite that season.
My good pal Dylan.
I put El Yunusi in there as well, to be fair. I think he's a shout.
Get on, he's up there. Dylan, good friend of ours, went to university with Dylan. Good Sellik man. He's in. He says, does Palmer play from the start on Wednesday?
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. We've came to that conclusion, haven't we? Thank you, Dylan. Carl, as always, is in. He says, who do you think is the best at FIFA in the squad?
James McCarthy gets a lot of practice.
Wasn't even in the squad for you. He's too busy opening packs.
I still think Scott Bain.
Gone Scott Bain. I don't know why. I feel like Alistair Johnson's probably pretty sick.
I just can't imagine people from America and Canada not being good at FIFA.
At the end of the day, they are all the streamers, but aren't they? Like Castro.
That's true.
And what was his fate? Him, the one that was like pally with KSI back in the day.
Good
John
job, Daniel.
That was
Every time he started putting on a weird accent, then he get cancelled.
what was it? Kieran used to be able to do it.
And I'm not doing it on the podcast,
How?
but I'm not performing, man.
I always do accents.
What was I going to say?
Don't know, better hurry up, but I'm doing this quick fast.
Go for it.
Right, okay. Adam, he says, unreal way to win on Saturday, but for 85 minutes, how bad technically are our wingers? Palmer could be good, but Yang is raw. Mayer and Forrest are our only options. Also, R.I.P. Moko Beale.
I mean, we spoke about how the wing play wasn't very good until Palmer came on, but hopefully he's the real light now, because we need somebody to be taking charge, and I think Maeda will still be good for Champions League, because we're going to need somebody with the legs to be tracking back in that.
Start 2, bench 1, drop 1, in their prime. Hooper, Samurai, Stokes, Griffiths, without the allegations.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to bring that into consideration. I can't look past
I
it.
know, I can't.
Prime Samaras.
I'd be starting Hooper and Sammy, and then I'd be benching Stokes and selling Griff. That's mine.
It's mad for a player that's scored over 100 goals for Celtic, but
Don't care.
Kind of shake what I've seen in the Instagram messages.
Nah, near can I. That's
See,
I'd be starting.
when you say prime Sammy, I think that Samaras game at Ibrox, that is prime Samaras.
That is prime Sammy. Sammy gets into any Sammy gets into my all-time Celtic team. Jimmy Johnson.
Fucking piece, man.
Joking, but I love him. I love him.
Have you seen Samaras and Matthews? That boy with the long hair.
So who would you start? Quick, go. What two?
Hooper and... without the allegations. I'll just go... Stokes was class as well.
You're going to go Stokes and Hooper, you've got to have the two together. The two were just as good.
Fuck you.
Why not? Go for that.
Thank you.
Samaras on the bench so he can come on and be the impact player.
Dinner with Brendan Rodgers or night out with Matt O'Reilly? I'm going for dinner with the Brodge.
Yeah, I don't know.
Aye.
He wouldn't leave yet. Well, actually, would probably leave.
Could go a night out with Matt O'Reilly?
Maybe getting swarmed.
Aye,
Where does it go wrong for that
You'd
boy,
just,
honestly?
You'd feel miserable by the end of the night. Yeah, it would be horrible.
He's a good-looking guy. It's quite annoying, actually.
Let's see. I'm going to skip through a few. Sorry if I missed your questions, but we are just pressed for time with this camera tonight. So, Liam, your fan, has asked you, Kieran, what's your go-to aftershave?
The Boss Night one, like the dark bottle, the Boss.
I never had that myself, that one.
I quite like it.
What's yours, Ryan?
Sauvage.
Same, mine's just Sauvage. Quite a basic answer, but
I've got a knockoff Sauvage as well, like for some mad, like the Essence shop or something.
Ah, right.
20 quid.
Is
He
that
also,
one of those lassies on Facebook that's a new business culture, but they've all got the same products.
I also feel sorry for Liam because he said Unreal Callum's back in, and Calum
Very
is...
sorry, Liam.
He's in spirit.
Yeah, he is. What's the best current chances, Sean? It's got to be that.
This new one, it's absolutely phenomenal.
it's brilliant.
I didn't like it at the start, but it's just,
Joe.
I think it's one of those ones that when I heard the Green Brigade just doing it in isolation, I was like, this isn't going to catch on.
It sounds good when it's a lot of people singing it at once, but
Like Juxtain's already done. Whatever it. Right, I'm going to go for like two more. Scran question, and Greg has put big red exclamation
seen
marks
this one.
beside it.
This is a
so
big
that
one.
helps.
can I answer
Oh,
this?
start to bench one, sell one, McDonald's, Greg's, Nando's, KFC. I'll start because mine's is easy and I know what. KFC gets shut down for good. Don't want to see it ever again. It's gone. It's sold. See you later, KFC. I like a Greg's, but I can live without it. There's plenty of bakers out there. It's fine. It's gone on the bench, and I'm starting McDonald's and Nando's.
Do you want to go?
See, I go to Greg's like every day in work to go for my coffee, and I get the Mexican chicken wraps and that. But a flaming wrap is one of my favourite fast food things ever, like for KFC. And Nando's is definitely starting.
Oh,
Agree with that.
this is a man who's relatively new to Nando's, by the way.
I know, it's banging. But I think I could probably go a lifetime without McDonald's or
Last
KFC.
Nah, I can't go a week with it.
Look at me, come on.
I mean, I've been recently getting McDonald's a lot more than I used to, but you can't beat a KFC flaming wrap for me.
There was
So
a video.
it's-
See, if McDonald's still had that spicy chicken snack wrap, the wee man, the save menu, this would be a conversation. But the bastards
You're
never
very
brought it back after
Yeah,
COVID.
You're very much a man of the menu, aren't you? The menu really does dictate for you.
I do love the
So you're
tunnel.
starting at Nando's and KFC? Or you
Aye.
starting Nando's and Greg's?
No, Greg's isn't going in my team.
Greg's not going to my team. So Ryan, you...
Start Nando's and McDonald's.
Right.
What was the worst option? What was that?
KFC
called?
and
Greg's and
Greg's.
KFC.
No, but what was the worst op? What was it called?
Oh,
Like,
sell and
Sell.
bench.
All right.
Aye.
Bench KFC, sell Greg's.
So
I'd
we're,
go
we're
with Greg's.
similar, except we swap now. Okay,
But Nando's has just got to start. It's just phenomenal.
nice. And then finally, to end us off, Paddy asked, what was your favourite Michael Mole moment? Does he have a favourite moment? Beating him in the cup final was good.
Aye.
That was up there. Getting sacked was up there. That's got to be one of the best.
I think the fact that you get Michael Beeld as well on the way out, because there's that picture of him and there's Alex Ray, who is the assistant manager now. Wow. Where do you start with that? That's probably a separate podcast altogether. But the fact that it's like, oh, he's behind you.
I
sort
think
of
he
thing.
actually might be the stupidest person in existence. Like, can't believe he's that close to the.
Alex Ray, I've heard him on Clyde Wanty. I know enough that he shouldn't be coaching a Sunday League team, let alone Rangers. So that's hilarious.
They've put together the Power Rangers, like this Avengers sort of Rangers team. Yeah, there's been quite a few moments. I thought the inheriting the gap was quite funny as well, and now he's left with a gap, so now another manager's going to have to inherit the gap that he did.
Inherit his gap.
Yeah.
Aye. Right, well, while I get the full-time quiz up and running, that is us for the Twitter questions this week. Thank you, everybody. We'll probably be back sometime similar next week if we get three of us together. And then we'll be international break in it, so it'll be a kind of wrap up to the first stage of the season or whatever. Whatever. While I get the quiz up and ready, any points, what you've been up to, any rants, anything, just go ahead, lads. Take the floor.
I don't know what I've been up to. I think in a note.
Booked a holiday.
Mm.
Not me, him.
I know. To be fair,
He's booked a holiday.
picked up Greece.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan? Do what you've been up to?
Not really, no. It's just working away. Still getting to go to the games, which is good. Went to my first away game in a wee while.
Yep.
Which, you know, it still is an away game, even though you're in the press box. And I'm just battering through Succession just now. I feel like I've been watching this forever, but it's been stop-start, but I'm getting towards the end of it, and I can see why people like it so much. It's getting quite addictive.
On yourself, son. Are you ready then for the full-time quiz
Yes,
to end off
absolutely.
today? It's full-time quiz time. 2-2 draw at Ibrox. the Kyogo final, Jota's semi-final, 3-2 league ended at Paradise, and the Tim Reapers 1-0 win at Ibrox. Today's celebration quiz will focus on every big game Michael Beale fucked it against Sellik.
Oh.
Kieran, because you won at half time, would you like to go player A or player B?
I'll just go player B.
Let's go on player B. So are you ready, Ryan McGinlay, for a walk down memory lane of Michael Beale's finest moments one last time?
Yes.
Right. Dyson Maida's opener at Ibrox was assisted by which Rangers player?
Oh, I know that.
Morelos.
Correct. It was Alfredo Morelos. Player B. Kyogo latched onto a blocked shot to get our late equaliser and make it 2-2. Whose shot was blocked?
Was it Adam Moy?
No.
Was he the one that put it in at
Giacomakis.
first?
I think so.
Aye.
Giacomakis.
Sure,
There's
couldn't
1-0.
see that in my head.
Giacomakis.
Oh, I can remember if that is either it's half again.
Oh, right, well, we're ending it with a blank screen. I'm not getting up again.
Put the scoreboard up.
Aye, the scoreboard can go up or something like that. I'll edit something in tomorrow. I'm not getting up again to fix the camera. I don't know what is up with it tonight. I know
Stations of the camera.
I
The
know.
camera fails for a third time.
Aye, I know. Where's Simon Assisi when you need him? Right.
Sireney.
Oh, what did I say? Who's Assisi?
Francis
Francis
You're getting your saints.
Oh,
the only
no.
saint you need to worry about is Saint
I didn't
Brendan.
take my crucifix off. I've not got a... Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
Jesus crucifix.
Right, away now. It is not. Thanks very much. Right. Ryan.
That is.
But it's not an Jesus crucifix. Don't start me. Right, Ryan McGinlay. The 2023 League Cup final meant Celtic have now won how many League Cup trophies? Is it 20, 21 or 22?
21.
Correct.
Yes. I looked that up the other day.
Right, it's unlucky statistics.
my answers,
Statistics, Right, Kieran, true or false? Celtic had more shots than Rangers in the final.
Ooh. False.
It's true. We had 14, they had 11.
Okay, I don't remember that
So
game
you're
very
2-0
well.
down, you've got your back against the wall, Ryan, to make it 3-0. Kyogo scored an offside goal in the 3-2 game against Rangers. Who assisted it?
An offside goal?
Yes.
Well, nobody, because it was an offside goal.
But who assisted? Don't be
It's a
clever
trick
with
question,
me.
you're right.
Don't be clever with me.
I don't know. An offside goal. But 1-3-2?
Yeah.
Aye, Fir Park. Sure can't think of that.
God, I cannot remember. Greg Taylor?
You were going down the right path. It was a fullback, but it was Alistair Johnston. Unlucky.
Cannot even remember that.
Yeah.
Right. Question 3 for you, Kieran. You need to get this right. Alfredo Morelos had a goal disallowed for a foul on which player?
But in that 3-2 game?
Yes.
Don't know. Carter Vickers.
No.
Alistair
It was
Johnston.
also Alistair Johnston.
I
Wow.
generally have no recollection of
Oh,
either of these things.
Not a good quiz for you, Kieran, son. Because, Ryan, you could take the win here with your question number 4. Jota was assisted by which player for the winner?
In the...
In the 3-2 game.
That's a trick question. It's a Rangers player. 3-2 game. Shooter.
Well, Kieran has told me it's Dyson Maida.
That was in the League Cup. That was in the semi-final.
I've given you the wrong game, son.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Because I would have said that.
oh, that's terrible.
But did they not change the
They,
word in
did-
it?
they just said Jota was assisted by which player for the winner. So,
It was John
Wait.
Shooter because he passes it to him.
right, well, do you know
That's
what?
fuck knows.
Do you know what? It keeps it interesting. So you've
That's
got
all
it.
good.
It's
No.
going to be very interesting. These questions have been
If Kieran gets
shadows,
it wrong,
man.
you've won anyway. If Kieran gets it wrong, you've won anyway. The Jota semi-final was the first Scottish Cup game Celtic won at Hampden since which game?
The COVID Cup final against
Yes, correct.
Hearts 2020.
Right, Ryan, you get this right, you've won.
I've already won, but still.
Oh, have you? Sorry, my bad. How many yellows did Celtic receive?
What the fuck? How many yellows? Aye, here we go. Here we go.
How many yellows did Celtic receive at the Brodges return to Ibrox a few weeks ago?
Did Celtic receive?
Yes. You've won, just give us a number.
4.
1.
Who was it?
Skills. Player B, final question. How many of Celtic's summer signings, including subs, played at Ibrox?
I'm not counting them. I don't know. 2.
3. Lagerbelka, Holman, Yang. Unlucky. So there you go, Ryan. Well done. You won anyway. So stop your greeting now. People can't see. You should see his face. By the way.
Actually ridiculous.
He's fucking livid here. You've won, mate.
The fact that I even asked you what game it was,
and
then you were like,
I can't remember.
I get the right answer, and then you're like, no.
You've won. Stop greeting. Well done.
I'm not greeting. I'm actually quite happy.
Another result at the top of the league or whatever. I don't
I
care.
take this very seriously, as you can tell.
Aye. That wraps up for today. So thank you to everybody for listening, joining in for our bumper technical difficulty show. Sorry about the camera. We'll have it fixed for next week, and hopefully maybe next week we might have the multi-camera setup that I want to do, but I need to figure out wires and what I need. So Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Kieran, thanks for joining me.
It's been good being back.
Enjoy the game on Wednesday, everybody. We'll be back next week, so like and subscribe, give us 5 stars on Spotify, and we'll see you all next time.
Cheers, guys.